Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. This one is going to be going over the Gamora buff. The Gamora buff, doesn't really seem like there's been a huge change to this champion. It's hard to say, like the timings and the way that Godslayer works, it's a definite improvement. But at the same time, what we're going to do in this video is compare off against a unawakened version as a solo champion. Then we're going to put her in a synergy. Then we're going to put her in a synergy, but also a 200 signature. So actually, then we're going to awaken her, and then we're going to do a 200 signature version. And what I really want to do is get this kind of like 3 bits of gameplay test out to just like showcase this from the point of like where she is and also like rotations. Because the biggest problem with this champion is rotations. Currently in Marvel Contest of Champions, as a lot of you know, there's a parry, dex, and basically controls issue. Not to forget the fact that also AI is literally terrible, more so when it comes to testing out in certain things in certain areas. If a champion is being defensive, then it's problematic for this champion because it relies on heavily refreshing those buffs by doing a heavy attack, which isn't always achievable. Your timing is going to have to be inch perfect, and as well, like getting parries isn't exactly there right now. Kabam have done some stuff when it comes to the timings of the buff, so it's like they last a little bit longer, whereas before I think the amount of seconds that the Fury and Cruelty last based on doing lights and medium attacks and 35% chance, you kind of like get the idea that well, it's sort of a bit better now on that. But here's the thing, it doesn't feel like it's overly or massively a big improvement to the champion. Yeah, it can do with the potency, but it's just a case of like sustaining those buffs, which is still the problem and has always been the problematic thing about this champion. You ended up having to rely heavily on the Beardo synergy to increase the time in which you have those buff effects on, as well to land things like parries, to do consistent heavy attacks or efficient heavy attacks. Like, I really do love Gamora, but it's just like I'm not overly interested in the champion if she's not going to get a little bit more when it comes to utility, but also an extent of like the improvement of buffs I want to see. Like, you know, having Gamora on a team with Beardo means that Cosmic Power get plus 20, Cosmic Champion get plus 25% of buff duration, which is like the main synergy. And that's just the thing. It is really seen about the extent of rotations, and I'd say again RNG that kind of comes with this champion when it, you know, number one, getting the buffs, but number two, rotating around your heavy attack. That's the problematic thing, and unfortunately still is. So let's roll some footage. The first bit of footage comes from an awakened version. Now I take a bit of damage first off, and that's just down to like some problems I'm having at the moment with the game. It's just not functioning. I'm trying to keep like, you know, always positive vibes for this game, even when at times I'm like, do you know what, this is just so sucky. But yeah, like, first of all, unawakened version, it's just going to showcase, first of all, this is unawakened with no champions as support synergy champions. And you can really see like the extent of fallout from the buffs. Like, I'm going to try as best I can to kind of do a parry and heavy. Could I do it without doing a parry and heavy? Yeah, I could give it a go, but I think there's too much risk with that, especially with the current state of the game. But definitely from an exhibition and showcase perspective, it does just go to show you, like, if the enemy champion is being too defensive, which at times it can be, it does mean that you're going to have to rethink your gaming and the way you kind of like hit out. I mean, there, like, you know, that was good enough. Get the armor break on. If you've got the Godslayer, Godslayer's now going to take ages. I think it's like 50 seconds or something, or a lot longer, or it doesn't, to kind of get that back. And that's the problem, guys. That is the biggest problem with this champion. It's great until that Godslayer goes. And we're going to talk about SP1 rotations in a minute. But like, you know, you can see on screen right now, like, I managed to get my heavy attack off. Excellent. Going to do a nice strong SP2. It's there. And then it's just going to be a case of like, again, just rinse and repeat. Now, I did hold off a little bit there. Should have been a bit more aggressive. But, you know, I can't really tell with this AI. Sometimes it's just very, very difficult. And just very inconsistent. But look, here's the thing. Now we've got the buffs that we need. And I'm being quite cautious here. Not as aggressive maybe I should be, and that's maybe kind of like why you're going to see a few kind of like low hit markers. It's only when it comes into the awakened ability that I kind of like, I start getting my pace. Normally when you can like replaying a champion, it's just getting there really. But the thing to point out is you've got to be so careful about being hit. That's the main thing. So I'm being as aggressive as possibly can here. Godslayer is kind of rotating around not so quickly. This is why it's always good with the SP1, you get an improved critical damage, and with the SP2 you get armor break debuffs, which is all well and good, but it's like if it's not going to rotate around that quickly to get Godslayer, then you know, you might find yourself going like, okay, well SP2s aren't as potent. So it kind of feels a bit flat with the unawakened version. I think we only see like something better when it comes to, say, awakened or with synergies. Now you're probably first off thinking to yourself, Rich, you're wearing something different. Yeah, I'm recording this video at different stages, but I wanted to do this kind of recording this part here to kind of mention that you're going to see 2 bits of footage before we come back to a conclusion point, and that is based on the fact the awakened ability, when you heavily awaken it, obviously you will add more increases to things or decreases. And the decrease will be largely seen with the Godslayer strike, which is meant to rotate. I think it was when I did the first signature on, or sorry, when I did the awakening, it was like close to about 30 to 50 seconds. I could be wrong with that one, but that kind of gives you an idea still. It's going to be seen. And the biggest thing to point out is Godslayer being such a slow rotation to get. And as you said, the potency or the importance of Godslayer, or being a Godslayer, is having these feats with the special one, which is critical damage multiplier. The SP2 is all about the armor break debuff and those critical things in order to improve the damage. You're going to see the changes first of all with the awaken, just standard awaken. Is going to see a 13.8, I think is prestige kind of thing, and then it's going to go up to like I think about 16k or not prestige, rating of it. It's been a long day, you know. But as well, we'll talk about that stuff as we roll the footage. And that footage indeed is on screen right now. So you can see that we are doing the build, same thing about the parry, the heavy attack, in order to try and make sure that we are, again, and this is with the synergy, by the way. I forgot to mention that. This is with the synergy, the Captain America synergy, as well as a few others that support this champion. Increased potency with the Black Panther Civil War synergy. That helps out with the potency of the damage, which again is largely seen. And this is the big point I think we'll come into. This champion is still very much, in my opinion, heavily synergy kind of bound and kind of supported, I think is the correct word here. We're going to see as well, like as soon as we throw the special attack, Godslayer strike is now slowly, very, very slowly ticking round to actually kind of like help us out. It's very slow. And that's that thing. I think it's past, it must be that this is about between 30 and 50 seconds. The 200 signature version is going to see us get that down to 20 seconds, which I think we'll see. Like on screen, we're halfway through. We're halfway through trying to get to Godslayer at an awakened with 1 signature, and now we are now 75% there. We're now closing in that last 15%, and the enemy HP is now down to like 73%. Man, it ain't good. It ain't good at all. Especially because you want those kind of like effects. And yeah, okay, look, we saw the armor break there, and that's still pretty much there. But it's just a case of like getting it quickly and having those effects for the length of time that they are on there. And that's just that's the downside. More so, I think, with the unawakened or at least non-synergy usage of this champion, because it just feels like it's a bit kind of like, it feels like something is missing. And especially to kind of get this champion down on. And look, Suicide Masteries are going to bring down the champion length of time to take down an enemy, the hits to take it down ratio. And that's going to, you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, like, it does become somewhat frustrating when you want a champion of potency. Even though this champion has been buffed, I don't know if I see the buff there. Like, has it been that kind of like big meteoric kind of like add to it? No. Same thing as before. SP1, I'm trying different things. Throwing the SP1, get that bleed off. Trying to see as well the extent of this. There we go. Critical damage multiplier, which you need Godslayer in order to get. But if the Godslayer is not rotating quick enough, this is why we need to bring in the 200 signature version, Awaken and 200 signature, in order to do a little bit of damage more than what we're doing. Because like you can see on screen right now, like it's kind of like, it feels like it's punchier. It's a little bit more punchier with it. That Godslayer is coming around quicker, you know. That's the good thing about it. At least to say that it's just punchy, it's quicker. This is 20 seconds that's in rotation, and Godslayer is ready again. I'm gonna mix it up through an SP1 for was that 28? That just felt like a lot larger when it comes to that 200 signature version, and you definitely seen the damage comparison, you know, ramping up there. Maybe not so much there, but again, that's the Godslayer. The Godslayer being up, and as well the rotation around is better. Like, and that's a problem when you've got to have synergies. To number one, increase potency of buffs. Number two, increase the length of time in order to rotate around and do that heavy attack in order to keep them on longer. That's where the limitations and problematic elements of this champion come into play. And I just don't think the buff, even though it was a good idea, the way it was before to the way it is now, I just don't think it's there. And I think that something more just needs to be given with this champion down the line. Like, it's good, it's fine. It's just one of these champions that doesn't really have anything extra to it going on. It's just trying to find something unique about this, apart from having True Strike off the SP3, which is a longer rotation in order to do. And yeah, like maybe rotating around the SP3 with Godslayer could be a better idea with the shocks. I just feel that like potency is the most important thing to wrap around that. I think the SP3 should have something, maybe something that keeps on your kind of like your buffs, or have something of benefit towards the buffs. But yeah, that's just it. Like I did want to go and give this champion a try because I did actually enjoy the champion when it was buffed first time, but it does come out of favour when it comes to utility and as well just a place within this this game. Because a lot of times you're going like, well, where can I use this champion? That True Strike isn't a rotatable, easy rotatable thing to kind of wrap round. Yes, armor break off the SP2, but again, it's like it's really kind of needed if you've got yourself, and yeah, okay, there's an 80% chance. It's not a 100% chance. So it's good, but it's just like it's still something that I don't. Number one, didn't think this was a up there need for a buff. Maybe it was a low amount of work that Kabam needed to do to it. But still, I just feel like it's missing something. I think that's the thing with it. It might be missing something. But it was fun to dissect this champion a bit more. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure as well to check out some content recently posted on screen right now. And as always, I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye-bye.